right. Well, I took my feet out of my cycling shoes and did dismounted my bike, handed my bike to a volunteer, which was really great. It made the transition very quick. And again, very well organized transition area. Once I grabbed...
Were you able to get the bike to the volunteer right away, or did you have to wait in line?
I didn't have to wait in line, but there were several volunteers, so I just kept wheeling it until a volunteer grabbed it. Did you have to wait?
Not really wait, but yeah, it was several after,
people,
because it was really busy.
Yeah.
And so yeah, just keep wheeling it like you until somebody took it.
Yeah, and then I grabbed my bag, and then when I went into the, I just ran to where I found a seat. And I felt like I had a really quick transition again. And that was something when I did Lake Placid, I was just extremely tired after the bike. And I felt like I took my time because I knew that once I started running, I wanted to be ready to run. So I just put on my shoes as quick as I could. I wear the New Balance, what are they? Fuel Cell. The current model. So those work really well for me. The Nikes don't really work so well for me. Do these have carbon plate in them?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I really like those shoes. So I put them on, took off my tri-top because I like to run in my sports bra, put on my hydration belt, and I had 2 flasks in there with scratched orange flavor with 1 scoop in each flask. I decided in advance that I was only going to fill up 1 flask right out of the transition area. And then when I finished that flask somewhere on the Red Hills Parkway, I would then fill it up with water from an aid station. So that way I wasn't carrying 2 10-ounce flasks, but just 1, because the first 3 miles are kind of net uphill, and then it really kicks up 8% to the parkway. So I felt like I had a really quick transition. I also had a baggie with my hydration, with my cooling towel, with my sunglasses, with my headband. I decided to wear a headband instead of a hat or visor for this race. So I had it all in a baggie so I could just carry that and in and out. And I felt like I had a really good transition, and it was so good. I actually was faster than you.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I didn't have a fast transition. And I blame Ironman for it, because they made it like an Ironman transition with chairs. And as soon as I sat down on the chair, I was like, oh, I'm tired, and this feels good. So the original plan was that I had in my bag, I had a little baggie with all that stuff that I would just grab, and as soon as I put a socks, shoes on, I just start running, and then I'll start picking stuff from the baggie and putting in the pockets and stuff like that, and head on and glasses on and all that while I'm moving. Well, that didn't happen. I just kind of start picking from that baggie, but I was still sitting there on the chair. So then I finally, made myself, get up and start jogging out, and then. Yeah, I started running, and I had a 1 flask that was already filled, like I said earlier in that previous video. So
you use precision hydration.
Yeah, precision hydration, the 1,000, whatever it is, number 1,000.
Mm-hmm.
And got up that first steeper hill, through those 2 roundabouts, and then the false flat actually felt pretty decent. I was just kind of running and feeling like still the thought in my head, like, I'm just tired. Mm-hmm. And I usually, I'm eager to run because it's usually my strongest part of the run, of the triathlon, to put together a good run. But this time it was just kind of like, I'm running okay, but I'm just kind of tired, and it just kind of was not in that moment where I would like to be. But all in all, it wasn't that bad. Until I get to that steep part of finishing those first 3 miles, and you said that yours was 8%, mine was like 25.
It grew for you,
yeah.
And then it shrunk for us.
Yeah. So mine was much steeper than yours. But then again, knowing the course really helped me, because I knew that after that, once I get done with that, there are a few more rollers, but it's a lot more downhills than uphills, and that actually felt really nice, because you can use the gravity, just keeps pulling you down, and I start finally feeling like I can open up the stride and running more or so normal. And then you make a U-turn, and by that time I finished that flask. So as I make that U-turn, I open up the flask. I had a packet of another packet of the precision hydration in my pocket in my kit. So I put it in the flask, and there was the aid station right after that. So the flask was open with the powder in it, and as I wanted to pour the water in, the volunteer actually took 2 cups and put it there for me. So I just closed it up, and I was all set and ready to go through that steep downhill to start my second loop.
Yeah. I had the volunteer fill up. She had a big jug, so it was perfect. And she filled it up for me. I just handed it to her, and then I closed it, put my flask in, my naked belt. And then when I loved all the spectators there cheering. It was just, I love the crowds. It just really, this course was so great because there's people everywhere, and that makes me just so happy. And when I went around and I heard lots of cheers and heard my name, and it just made me really happy. And I was like, wow, my legs are really tired. But then part of me was just like, hey, this is your last race of the season. This is, you sure your legs are tired, but everything else is functioning well. And so I just really wasn't going to let my mind control my body in a negative way. I was trying to let my mind work with my body. So I just kept saying, you don't need to walk right now. And I know that there's going to be a time when I need to stretch out and pop my hips or whatever I need to do. But right now, yes, you hurt, but you're going to keep running. And I was seeing some other Trimarnies out there. So that was really great. And we live on the bottom of a hill, so we're used to running uphill. But I think those first 2 miles of just gradually uphill, it was just hard because it was just one type of running style. You didn't really get that,
a little break,
yeah. Maybe a little bit.
There was that one, like as soon as you hit
downhill through the tunnel.
Yeah, that was.
But it was just kind of like, I would really like to just kind of let my legs go. So it was a lot of work, and my calves were on fire. They were burning, especially once I got to the hill, and I see people like walking up the hill with their hands like on their legs. It was only 8% for us, but it was
25.
Yeah. So they're like walking.
Seriously, who said it was 8% was drunk?
That sign was there. 8%.
Yeah. Whoever put it there was drunk. It was definitely more.
Okay.
At least 12%.
At least 12%. So
if you don't believe me, people come here to St. George and run that course.
Yeah, it is steep.
Yeah.
And so when we get up there and I see
it's steep as bleak.
I see lots of people walking, but I was like, hey, I'm going to be faster. Well, actually, I contemplated. I was like, am I really faster running this than walking? I was not moving fast, but I was like, just keep moving, because once you get to the top, you can reset and you'll be downhill. So I just broke it into segments. And what was really good was once I got through those 3 miles and I got to the downhill, I felt like the bike never happened. The swim never happened. Those 3 miles never happened. I felt like I was somewhat fresh again. So it just reminded me, okay, all I need to do is get through this one more time. And the back half of the course, I can do this. And we had another steep hill, and I found myself kind of passing or catching up to some people that were running much faster than me out of the transition area. I never focused on my watch. I think I looked at it a few times, but not for any reason other than like, oh, I wonder what I'm running right now. I just kind of listened to my body. I maybe took 1 or 2 little stretch breaks just to stretch out, use water, ice down my sports bra. I actually wrapped my cooling towel around my hand because I like to hold something, and that kind of helped with my form, and then I could squeeze it. And it got a little bit warm out there. And then when I was getting to past the light, and then we did the little out and back, it started to pour. And not just a sprinkle, but a downpour. Mm-hmm. And that was right before I got to the downhill. And by that time, it's a super steep downhill, and it's a downhill and you kind of twist around. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I just have to go for it because we'll see what happens. So I was kind of careful, but then I was also like, okay, let's just see what happens. So running down this hill, it's wet, it's raining, but then it was like, this is fun. This is so much fun. And I couldn't believe how fast this course went by. I really enjoyed this course. It was a strength course, and it was a really fun course. So once I got through that first loop, and you're just running downhill and it gets even steeper, and then you're in town and people are still cheering, and you go around the roundabout, I was like, okay, all I have to do is get through these next 3 miles, I actually ended up not refilling my flask. I just used Coke a few times on the second loop. So by that time, I felt like, okay, just my energy level was good. My calves were burning. My legs were tired. But otherwise, I felt strong. And I had no idea what my time was going to be, but actually, I felt like I was really taking advantage of the downhills and running really well on the downhills, and the uphills weren't taking a lot out of me. So I put together what I felt was a really good race and just really took advantage of any section where I felt like I could pick up some speed. The lowest moment for me was actually right after the light, going to that out and back. I was like, okay, just 1 mile, 1 mile. That's all you have is 1 mile. And then everything else is going to be downhill. So I'd say that was kind of my hardest point, was just that one section. And I ended up catching several girls that were running way faster than me in the beginning. So that was kind of really fun. I did get passed by several girls on the run, and I expected that. But yeah, I put together the best race that I could. I was really happy with my run, and I finished as strong as I could. I was trying to pass people, and I was racing as if I was winning the race. I just felt like, hey, I don't know what place I'm in, and I want to give it everything I could, and I want to do everything well, no matter what my result is. I never knew my time or my place, any metrics. It was just in the moment, and I really, really felt like I put together a race that I can be proud of.
Yeah, that's pretty much my race. So there you have
How
it.
was your second loop?
Just like what you said. Yeah.
But
No,
you really liked you felt like it was only those two big hills, and
Yeah.
then
So as I was finishing the first loop, I was just kind of mentally getting ready for that. I only have to run that, next 3 miles
Mhm.
to put effort to it, because everything after that, it's a downhill. There are still some uphills, but just kind of like making these mind games, that all I have to do is this. And that was the highlight on the second roundabout, where I saw Julie DeBenz with Kate, and they were cheering, like first looking, seeing Triboni, and then like we recognized it was me, so we waved, and then soon after there was Triathlon Joe wearing his red wig and looking like a Neanderthal, and he pat me on my back and said, "You have to run, mother bleep," and so I took off. And then slow down a little bit after I was out of sight again. And but no, this time around, that's the part. It was really, really hard. And just like you said, I was questioning myself, like, am I really faster running than walking? But then I was moving through the people who were walking or pretending to run slower than me. So I was like, yeah, I guess I am better off pretending like I'm running, but it was just kind of like a, let's shuffle. And I just don't understand how some of these pro guys, they didn't get the memo about the hill, watching the coverage, and Gustav Eden running up to that hill like it's a downhill. And same thing for Lucy. So that was pretty amazing actually to see. But anyway, once I get down with this hill, I just really, really open it up and try to run the best I can, and just telling myself that it's mostly downhill. And then after that U-turn, I really open it up. So my last mile was actually by far the fastest, although it was kind of kamikaze going down that steep hill. And I forgot to mention, like you said about the rain. So I had a rain on that super steep downhill. I think it was in the first loop. Just kind of everything blends together. But one of the loops that was, I think it was the first loop, and it just started pouring again on that super steep, and same thing, just kind of like trying to brake with the hands, and but at the same time try to run fast. And then once I get finished with that really, really steep, and then it's still steep, but you can kind of run. So I just run as fast as I could to the finish, because you just never know where you will end it up and how you will finish. And I actually think that it helped me to move maybe a few places there. And then when I finished, I was glad to finish. Look at my time, thinking that my watch just kind of malfunctioned.
Maybe paused.
Like, who is this? No, if it would pause, it would be cool, right? It would show lesser time, but it somehow added time to my time. But then I realized, no, it is really my time. So it kind of was that first almost like that disappointment, but then I just kind of have to laugh at it, because everything that preceded, and almost didn't make it here to the start line. So I was I felt good about my effort. I was happy with how I did, and considering everything else, and it was a bigger race, and I was glad that it was over.
Yeah, I actually felt really strong on the run that I never felt like I wanted it to be over with. I mean, of course, I was happy that
I wish for this to be over midway through the bike.
But I was really happy with how I felt, and actually the run was the biggest concern for me because of my lungs and my throat and breathing and everything. And I feel like my run was, and that's always kind of an unknown for me. And I felt like the run was kind of the highlight of the day. So I was really happy, and it got windy on the run as well, in addition to the rain. And then when I was doing the second loop, there was huge puddles that we had to run through. So I think it was just it was fun. You just kind of had to almost laugh and say, wow, this is really a world championship worthy course. We had every type of condition. The course was tough, and then Mother Nature made it even tougher. And then the highlight, of course, was seeing all our athletes out there. And then when we finished the race, we all started to just kind of collect together. Ironman did a great job with the finish line area and giving us our morning clothes bags so we could get our stuff right away, and then the food. And it was very well organized.
French fries and ice cream combination is awesome.
The French fries were really good. Yeah. And then you got mad at me for not bringing you another ice cream.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was on the memo. But yeah, and then all the Tri-Marnies, we kind of all got together, and then you and I went out to make sure that our final finishers all got in. And then, yeah, so that was the rest of the day. And Corral and I mean, we're very competitive athletes. We love competing, but at the same time, the past 2 years have been challenging in many ways for us. And with the pandemic and the uncertainty of racing, we really decided that the best thing for our mental and physical health is to find ways to keep training fun.
Mm-hmm.
And a big part of that was to not have too much structure with our training and to find other ways to have fun with swim, bike, and run. So changing up with gravel biking and group rides, and we've been mountain biking and just running for the joy of running, and swimming with friends, with our swimming partners, and having fun in the pool. That doesn't mean that we haven't been training with structured training, but there definitely has been a lot of flexibility and a lot of non-structured, more happy workouts.
Okay.
And that's very important to us right now to keep us healthy and well. Yeah. So with all that being said, we're very happy with our races. Congrats to everybody that finished. And hopefully you'll want to come back next year with the race in October. All right. You ready?
I'll be here in May.
Oh, you will be in May. Yeah. Did you remember that during the race?
Yeah, the thought
that you're doing the full in May here?
Yeah, the thought kind of crossed my mind, and I immediately pushed it over. Like, get the hell out of here. Nope, not thinking about it.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks everybody for watching. And I guess stay tuned because our adventures continue. We are off to head up north to Snow Basin in Salt Lake City, outside of Salt Lake City. And Corral has an Xterra race on Saturday.
You too.
And I have a trail run on Sunday. So stay tuned for that. Congrats, everybody. Thanks for watching.
Cheers.